At 11:17 on the morning of July 11, 1940, Squadron Leader Douglas Bader circled alone in the sky above the Norfolk coast, watching a German Dornier DC-17 bomber through the gunsight of his Hawker Hurricane. 29 years old, former aerobatics champion, 0 confirmed kills. The bomber flew steadily toward England. Bader's artificial legs sat motionless on the rudder pedals, legs made of tin and leather that the RAF Medical Board had called incompatible with combat flying. One doctor had written, Pilot Officer Bader is permanently and totally disabled. December 14, 1931. Woodley Aerodrome, 4 miles east of Reading, Berkshire. Pilot Officer Douglas Robert Stewart Bader climbed into the cockpit of Bristol Bulldog MCOT serial number K1676, 21 years old. The morning was clear, cold. Bader had been at the Reading Aero Club visiting friends from number 23 Squadron. Someone made a challenge. Accounts differ on the exact word. Show us what Cranwell taught you. Low-flying aerobatics. The regulations were explicit. No aerobatic maneuvers below 2,000 feet. Minimum altitude 500 feet at all times. 7 pilots had died that year alone, ignoring those regulations. Bader took off. He climbed to altitude, then dove. He began a slow roll at perhaps 200 feet. The left wing of the Bulldog dipped. The wingtip touched the ground. The aircraft cartwheeled. Bader was thrown clear, but the Bulldog structure collapsed around him. Both legs were crushed. Berkshire Hospital. Surgeon J. Leonard Joyce operated. The right leg was amputated above the knee almost immediately. The left leg, crushed and gangrenous, was amputated below the knee several days later. Bader's logbook entry for that day, crashed slow rolling near ground. Bad show. The recovery took months. Morphine for the pain, infection, fever. Bader nearly died 3 times in the first week, but he survived. In 1932, the RAF transferred him to the hospital at RAF Uxbridge. They fitted him with prosthetic legs, tin legs. Heavy, uncomfortable, loud when they struck the floor. Bader learned to walk, then to run, then to dance, then to drive a specially modified car, then to play golf. He passed his flight medical in June 1932. Air Under Secretary Philip Sassoon arranged for Bader to fly an Avro 504. Bader flew it competently. He could work the rudder pedals. He could manage the throttle. He could land without difficulty. But the RAF Medical Board ruled against him. Permanently and totally disabled. Medically retired. 100% disability pension. Bader married Thelma Edwards. He found work at the Asiatic Petroleum Company, a joint venture between Shell and Royal Dutch. He flew a desk. He sold aviation fuel. He played sports. He tried to forget flying. He couldn't. September 3, 1939, Britain declared war on Nazi Germany. Bader wrote to the Air Ministry. He requested reinstatement. He was 29 years old. He had been out of the cockpit for 7 years. The Air Ministry declined. Bader wrote again and again. He used connections from his Cranwell days. He pestered every officer he knew. Finally, in October 1939, the Air Ministry reconsidered. They ordered a medical evaluation, flight testing. A review board examined Bader's prosthetics, his walking ability, his physical conditioning. Then they sent him to Central Flying School for refresher training. The instructors watched him carefully. They tested him on every aircraft type available. Bader flew Avros, Hawker Harts, and finally the newer monoplane fighters. His final evaluation read, exceptional. It was the highest rating given, rare for any pilot, extraordinary for a man with 2 artificial legs. February 7, 1940. Flight Lieutenant Douglas Bader was posted to number 19 Squadron, RAF Duxford, Cambridgeshire. The squadron flew Supermarine Spitfires. Bader was 29 years old, older than most pilots in the squadron. Squadron Leader Geoffrey Stevenson, an old friend from Cranwell, commanded the unit. Bader saw his first Spitfire on a cold morning at Duxford. The aircraft sat on the tarmac, graceful, deadly. 8 Browning .303 caliber machine guns, 4 in each wing. Maximum speed 367 miles per hour. The Spitfire's long nose made ground handling difficult. Taxiing required constant S-turns to see ahead. Takeoff was blind until the tail lifted. But in the air, the Spitfire was perfect. Light controls, responsive, deadly. April 1940. Bader was transferred to number 222 Squadron as flight commander, still at Duxford, still flying Spitfires. The squadron prepared for combat. The war in France was going badly. The Wehrmacht had invaded Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Belgium. The British Expeditionary Force was being pushed toward the coast. May 26, 1940. Operation Dynamo began. The evacuation of Dunkirk. RAF squadrons were ordered to provide air cover. Number 222 Squadron flew patrol after patrol over the Channel. He missed. 0 kills. June 1st, 1940, approximately 3,000 feet above Dunkirk, early afternoon. Bader was flying patrol when he spotted a Messerschmitt Bs 109 ahead of him. Same altitude, same direction, same speed. The German pilot seemed unaware. Bader closed to 200 yards. He fired. The Hurricane's 8 guns hammered. The Bf 109 took hits but continued flying. Bader fired again. Longer burst. The Messerschmitt shuddered, rolled, and fell. Bader watched it go down. His first kill. That same day, Bader was credited with damaging a Messerschmitt Bf 110. He claimed 5 victories in that dogfight, but intelligence confirmed only 2. The next patrol, he damaged a Heinkel. He won 11. June 4th, he engaged a Dornier Do-17 attacking Allied shipping. Bader fired at the rear gunner during a high-speed pass. He nearly collided with the bomber. He pulled up hard, the Hurricane's controls heavy in his hands. June 28, 1940. Bader received new orders. He was promoted to squadron leader and given command of No. 242 Squadron based at RAF Cultishall, Norfolk. The squadron flew Hawker Hurricanes. It was composed mainly of Canadian pilots who had been mauled during the Battle of France. Morale was low. Equipment was inadequate. The squadron was barely operational. Bader arrived and began rebuilding. He demanded better aircraft, better supplies, better support. He trained his pilots relentlessly, formation flying, air combat tactics, gunnery practice. He taught them to attack from below and astern, using the sun for cover. He taught them to maintain height advantage. He taught them to watch their tails. The Canadians respected him. Bader led from the front. He flew every patrol. He took the most dangerous positions. He never asked his men to do anything he wouldn't do himself. The squadron's morale improved. By July, No. 242 Squadron was fully operational again. July 10, 1940, the Battle of Britain officially began. The Luftwaffe launched massive raids against British shipping, ports, and coastal installations. Air Chief Marshal Hugh Dowding commanded RAF Fighter Command. The RAF was outnumbered. German intelligence estimated Fighter Command had fewer than 600 operational fighters. The Luftwaffe could field nearly 3,000 aircraft. No. 242 Squadron was assigned to No. 12 Group, commanded by Air Vice Marshal Trafford Leigh Mallory. The group defended the Midlands. No. 11 Group to the south bore the brunt of the German attacks. No. 11 was commanded by Air Vice Marshal Keith Park. The two commanders disagreed fundamentally on tactics. Park favored sending up squadrons individually to intercept German formations quickly, attack early, prevent the bombers from reaching their targets. Leigh Mallory and Bader advocated for the big wing concept, gather multiple squadrons into a large formation, overwhelm the enemy with superior numbers. The debate would become one of the most controversial tactical disputes of the war. July 11, 1940, 11:17 hours. Bader was flying alone over Norfolk when he received a radio call. A German bomber had been spotted flying up the coast. Bader altered course. He climbed to intercept altitude. He scanned the sky. He spotted the Dornier at 12,000 feet. The bomber was flying steadily toward England, possibly on a reconnaissance mission. Bader closed from astern. The Dornier's rear gunner opened fire. Tracers arced past Bader's Hurricane. Bader ignored them. He closed to 300 yards, 250 yards, 200 yards. He fired. The Hurricane's 8 Browning machine guns hammered into his hands. 2,000 rounds per minute combined fire rate. The Dornier's left engine began trailing smoke. Bader fired again. Longer burst. The engine caught fire. The Dornier nosed down. Bader watched it descend. It crashed into the sea off Cromer. His first kill as squadron commander. No. 242 Squadron's first kill since returning to operations. July through September 1940, No. 242 Squadron flew patrol after patrol. The Luftwaffe intensified its attacks, first against shipping and ports, then against RAF airfields, then against London itself. August 30th, 1940, No. 242 Squadron was moved back to Duxford. The squadron joined Leigh Mallory's big wing experiments. 3 squadrons flying together, No. 242, No. 310 Polish Squadron, and No. 19 Squadron, 60 aircraft total. The formation took time to assemble. Getting 60 Hurricanes and Spitfires airborne and in position required 15 to 20 minutes. Park's critics argued this delay allowed German bombers to reach their targets. That same day, the big wing intercepted a large German formation over southern England. Bader led No. 242 Squadron into the attack. The combat was chaotic. Aircraft everywhere. Messerschmitt Bf-109s escorting Dornier and Heinkel bombers. Bader shot down 2 Bf-110s. The squadron claimed 10 enemy aircraft destroyed. British losses were minimal. September 7th, 1940, the Luftwaffe shifted tactics. Massive raids on London. The Big Wing intercepted German formations as they withdrew from bombing London. Bader shot down 2 Bf-109s and a Junkers Ju-88. Another pilot witnessed one of Bader's Victories crash. During the same engagement, a Bf-109 hit Bader's Hurricane. Cannon shells struck the aircraft. Bader almost bailed out but recovered control and landed safely. September 9, 1940. Bader claimed another Dornier destroyed. He attacked a Heinkel. He won 11 but ran out of ammunition before destroying it. Furious, Bader considered ramming the bomber. He could slice off its rudder with his wing, but sanity prevailed. He returned to base. September 15, 1940, the largest aerial battle of the war. The Luftwaffe launched 2 massive waves against London, over 1,000 German aircraft. The Big Wing intercepted the second wave. Bader damaged a Junkers Ju-88 and a Dornier Do-17. He shot down another Dornier. The bomber's rear gunner attempted to bail out, but his parachute snagged on the tail wheel. The Dornier crashed into the Thames estuary with the gunner still attached. September 18, 1940, Bader shot down another Ju-88 and another Do-17. September 27th, he claimed a Bf-109. By the end of September, Bader had been credited with 11 confirmed kills during the Battle of Britain. October 1st, 1940, King George V appointed acting squadron leader Douglas Robert Stewart, Bader a companion of the Distinguished Service Order. The citation read, "This officer has displayed gallantry and leadership of the highest order. During 3 recent engagements, he has led his squadron with such skill and ability that 33 enemy aircraft have been destroyed." December 12, 1940. Bader was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross for his service during the Battle of Britain. By then, the Luftwaffe had abandoned its daylight bombing campaign. The Battle of Britain was over. Fighter Command had won. Bader had flown 3 different Hawker Hurricanes during the battle. Serial number P3061, in which he scored 6 kills. An unknown aircraft, possibly P3090, in which he scored 1 kill and 2 damaged. And serial number V7467, in which he destroyed 4 more and added 1 probable and 2 damaged. March 18, 1941. Bader was promoted to wing commander and given command of the Tangmere Wing, 3 Supermarine Spitfire squadrons, number 145, 610, and 616. Later, the Spitfires were upgraded to the Mark BB variant with 2 Hispano 20mm cannon and 4 303 machine guns. Bader insisted on flying a Mark VA with 8 303 machine guns. He believed the machine guns were more effective against fighters. As wing leader, Bader received special permission to have his initials painted on his aircraft. DB appeared on the fuselage. These letters became his radio call sign, Dog's Body. The Tangmere Wing's mission was offensive. Fighter sweeps over occupied France. Bomber escort missions. The goal was to lure German fighters into combat, tie down Luftwaffe units that might otherwise deploy to the Russian front. Germany had invaded the Soviet Union on June 22, 1941, Operation Barbarossa. Between March 24th and August 9, 1941, Bader flew 62 fighter sweeps over France. June 21st, he destroyed a Bf-109E near Desrays. 4 days later, he shot down 2 Bf-109Fs. July saw more victories. Bader's score climbed. 12, 15, 18 kills. August 9, 1941. Bader was flying Spitfire Mark VA, serial number W3185, marked DB. His regular wingman, Pilot Officer Alan Smith, was grounded with a head cold. Smith was described as leech-like and the perfect number 2. His absence would prove significant. Tangmere Wing crossed the Channel on an offensive sweep. Altitude 30,000 feet. The French coast approached. Just after crossing the coast near Le Touquet, Bader's section of 4 aircraft spotted 12 Bf-109s below them, perhaps 2,000 to 3,000 feet lower. Flying in formation, same direction. Bader dove. Too fast, too steep. He couldn't aim. He nearly collided with one of the Messerschmitts. He pulled up hard. The Spitfire climbed steeply. Bader found himself alone at 24,000 feet, separated from his wingmen. He considered returning to England. Then he spotted 6 Bf-109s in the distance. Bader decided to engage. He dove below the German formation. Altitude advantage reversed. He positioned himself beneath and behind. Classic fighter attack. He fired at the closest Bf-109. The Messerschmitt's engine exploded. The aircraft spiraled downward, trailing flame. Kill number 22. Bader swung toward another Bf-109. He fired. Hits. The Messerschmitt began smoking but didn't go down. Damaged. 2 of the remaining Bf-109s turned to engage. Bader realized his mistake. He was alone, outnumbered, low on altitude. He banked hard right to disengage. Something struck his Spitfire. The entire rear fuselage behind the cockpit was gone, tail assembly missing. Rudder gone, elevators gone. The Spitfire spun. Bader tried to control it. Impossible. He had to bail out. He jettisoned the canopy. He released his harness. The rushing air began pulling him from the cockpit, his right prosthetic leg trapped in the rudder pedals. Bader was stuck, half out of the aircraft, the Spitfire falling, spinning. He pulled desperately. The leather straps holding his prosthetic leg strained. Bader deployed his parachute. The sudden deceleration as the parachute opened created enormous force. The leather strap snapped. Bader pulled free. His right leg remained in the falling Spitfire. Bader descended by parachute. A Bf-109 flew past approximately 50 yards away at around 4,000 feet. The German pilot didn't fire. Bader landed hard in a field near the French coast. He was knocked unconscious. When he woke, 3 German soldiers were removing his parachute harness. Bader was taken to a hospital in Saint-Omer, France. Ironically, Saint-Omer was where his father had died in 1922 from wounds received in World War I. German medical staff treated Bader's injuries, bruised ribs, minor cuts, 1 prosthetic leg lost with his Spitfire. The hospital staff was courteous. Bader was visited by Lieutenant Colonel Adolf Galland, commander of the nearby Luftwaffe airfield at Wissant. Galland was himself a prominent fighter ace. He invited Bader to the German airfield. Bader was driven there in a Horch staff car. German pilots gave him a tour. They offered him English tobacco. They allowed him to sit in a Messerschmitt Bf-109 cockpit. Bader asked through Galland's interpreter if he could take off and try a little trip in this thing. He thought that if the Germans were distracted, he might steal the aircraft and fly back to England, be home for tea at the Tangmer mess. Galland laughed and refused. Galland notified the British of Bader's situation and his missing prosthetic leg. With Reich Marshal Hermann Goering's approval, the Luftwaffe offered safe passage for an RAF aircraft to drop a replacement leg. The British agreed. Operation Leg was planned. August 19, 1941. As part of Circus 81, a bombing mission to Bethune, 6 Bristol Blenheims, escorted by fighters, diverted to Saint-Omer. Squadron 18 Blenheim serial number R3843, coded WVF, flown by Flight Sergeant John Murray Nicholson of Toronto, Canada, dropped a box containing a replacement prosthetic leg, along with socks, powder, tobacco, and chocolate. The German defenses held fire as promised. Bader received his new leg. He immediately began planning escape attempts. He tried to escape from the Saint-Omer hospital by tying bed sheets together and climbing out a window. The hospital worker betrayed him. He was recaptured. The Germans moved him to a prisoner of war camp. Bader tried to escape again and again. The Germans grew frustrated. They threatened to confiscate his artificial legs permanently. Eventually, they transferred him to Stalag Luft Dieders at Sagan. He attempted escape there as well. Finally, in August 1942, the Germans sent him to Oflag Ivesee, Colditz Castle in Saxony. Colditz was the maximum security prison for incorrigible escapers. It was considered escape-proof. Bader spent the rest of the war at Colditz. He assisted other prisoners in their escape attempts. He practiced goon baiting, deliberately irritating the German guards. Every night, the Germans confiscated one of his artificial legs and returned it each morning to prevent escape. Bader remained at Colditz until April 15, 1945, when the camp was liberated by the 1st United States Army. After liberation, Bader traveled to Paris. He requested a Spitfire so he could rejoin the fighting. The request was denied. The war in Europe ended May 8, 1945. Bader returned to England. He was promoted to group captain. June 15, 1945, he led a victory flypast of 300 aircraft over London, commemorating the Battle of Britain. He flew a Spitfire at the head of the formation. Bader remained in the RAF after the war. He was appointed commanding officer of the Fighter Leader School at RAF Tangmere. He was promoted to War Substantive Wing Commander on December 1st, 1945, and temporary group captain soon after. But peacetime service was different. Bader found himself training pilots on ground attack and cooperation with ground forces. The newer generation of squadron leaders considered him old-fashioned. He didn't get along with them. February 1946. Bader left the RAF permanently. He returned to Shell Oil Company. He became managing director of Shell Aircraft Limited. The position involved extensive travel, goodwill flights around the world. Bader often traveled with his wife Thelma and their dog Sean. 1954. Bader was the subject of Reach for the Sky, a biography written by Paul Brickhill. Brickhill had been a prisoner of war at Stalag Luft Darda, SETI. He also wrote The Great Escape. The biography became a bestseller. 1956. Reach for the Sky was adapted into a film starring Kenneth More as Bader. The movie was a critical and commercial success. It brought Bader's story to millions. Bader devoted much of his time to working with disabled people. He counseled amputees and wounded veterans. He became a member and trustee of BLESMA, the Limbless Veterans Association. He wrote inspiring letters to people who had lost limbs. He visited hospitals. He spoke at schools. He told people, "Don't listen to anyone who tells you that you can't do this or that. That's nonsense. Make up your mind you'll never use crutches or a stick. Then have a go at everything. Never let them persuade you that things are too difficult or impossible." 1969. Bader retired from Shell at age 59. The company gave him a specially adapted Beechcraft Bonanza light aircraft. He joined the Civil Aviation Authority Board. He also worked as a consultant to Aircraft Equipment International at Ascot, Berkshire. He received a Doctorate of Science from Queen's University, Belfast. January 1971. Thelma Bader died of throat cancer at age 64. They had been married for 38 years. January 1973, Bader married Joan Eileen Hipkiss Murray. She had 3 children from a previous marriage, Wendy, Michael, and Jane. Bader continued flying throughout the 1970s. June 4, 1979, he flew his Beechcraft for the last time. By then, he had logged 5,744 hours and 25 minutes total flying time. His health was declining. He had a worsening heart condition. June 4, 1976. The London Gazette announced that Queen Elizabeth Di would confer the honor of knighthood on Group Captain Douglas Robert Stewart Bader, CBE des ODFC, for services to disabled people. He was invested Knight Bachelor on June 12, 1976. 1982. Bader appeared on This Is Your Life, a television program. He was surprised by host Eamon Andrews during a reception on the Martini Terrace of New Zealand House in London's Haymarket. September 5, 1982. Bader attended a dinner at the Guildhall in London honoring Marshal of the Royal Air Force Sir Arthur Bomber Harris. Bader gave a speech. After the dinner, he was being driven through Chiswick, West London, on his way home. He suffered a massive heart attack. He died in the car. He was 72 years old. Among the many dignitaries at his funeral was Adolf Galland, his former enemy and lifelong friend. The funeral was held at St. Clement Danes Church in the Strand, the Royal Air Force Church. Hundreds attended. The Douglas Bader Foundation was formed in his honor by family and friends, many of them former RAF pilots who had flown with Bader during the war. The foundation continues to work providing opportunities for disabled athletes. One of Bader's artificial legs is kept at the RAF Museum warehouse in Stafford. It is not on public display. Another was sold at auction in February 2008, along with other items belonging to the RAF ace. Douglas Robert Stewart Bader flew combat operations from June 1, 1940 until August 9, 1941, 14 months of frontline service. He was credited with 22 confirmed aerial victories, 4 shared victories, 6 probable victories, 1 shared probable, and 11 enemy aircraft damaged. He was the 5th highest scoring RAF fighter ace. He flew both Hawker Hurricanes and Supermarine Spitfires. He commanded No. 242 Squadron during the Battle of Britain. The squadron destroyed 67 German aircraft and lost only 5 pilots under his command. He later led the Tangmere Wing during offensive operations over France. He was awarded the Distinguished Service Order and Bar, the Distinguished Flying Cross and Bar, Commander of the Order of the British Empire, Deputy Lieutenant, and Fellow of the Royal Aeronautical Society. He was knighted in 1976. Bader wrote one book, Fight for the Sky. The Story of the Spitfire and Hurricane, published by Sidgwick and Jackson in 1973. Several places were named in his honor. The suburb of Bader in Hamilton, New Zealand, Bader Primary School in Thornaby-on-Tees, England, Sir Douglas Bader Towers in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, a 13-story residential building with 79 units for people with disabilities. The Northbrook College, Sussex campus at Shoreham Airport has a building named after him, where aeronautical and automotive engineering are taught. The Douglas Bader Rehabilitation Center at Queen Mary's Hospital specializes in amputee rehabilitation. If this story moved you the way it moved us, hit that like button. Douglas Bader proved that disability doesn't define capability. A man told he would never fly again became one of Britain's deadliest fighter pilots. A man who lost both legs walked into legend. Subscribe to this channel for more stories of courage, determination, and the men and women who refuse to accept limitations. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from and share your thoughts on Bader's incredible journey. Douglas Robert Stewart Bader, born February 21, 1910. Died September 5, 1982. Fighter pilot, leader, hero, inspiration to millions. These men deserve to be remembered. Their stories deserve to be told. Make sure you never forget them.